everybody, and welcome to another edition of A Girl and Her Glock. Today we will be doing a quick video about semi-automatics versus revolvers. A lot of people are, always question whether they should get a semi-auto or revolver for their first gun, especially women. So I thought I'd do this video to illustrate some of the pros and cons of each and hopefully help you to make an informed decision when you go to purchase your first gun. Today we will start out with our semi-automatic. This is the Smith & Wesson SD9VE, and I'll show you that it has been safety checked. It is unloaded, so we're good to go. The main pro about semi-automatics is their capacity. This one in particular holds 16 rounds of 9mm in the magazine and 1 in the chamber for a total of 17. Which is very good if you happen to find yourself in a situation with multiple attackers. It's always better to have more firepower for defense in that situation. And another thing that I really like about semi-automatics is the reliability. They have slightly more issues with things like jams than revolvers do, but if you really practice, if you practice and use good quality ammo with a good quality semi-automatic, it won't happen that often. I've had maybe less than 20 jams, and none of them have been major. They've been mostly stovepipes, things like that. You can learn to clear it. I've been shooting for a couple of years now, and I have had no problems with my semi-automatics being reliable. And another thing that I like about the semi-automatics is they're easier for me to shoot. I find that the small guns, especially the small revolvers, you don't have as much mass to the gun to absorb the recoil, so you end up feeling it in your hands, and it makes your hands rather sore after you shoot for a while. But with most of the semi-automatics, especially a big one like this in a 9mm, you don't feel it. You don't feel much of any recoil at all, and that's even true for my, Glock 27, which is a 40 Smith & Wesson, a bigger round than a 9mm. I find that, and also I've heard that the action of the semi-auto, where it, where it loads again, that also uses some of the recoil to generate that, so you're not feeling it all in your hand. But I really do love semi-autos. I carry my semi-autos all the time. Not this one, but that's the ones that I've learned to shoot on, the ones that I carry, and I feel much more comfortable personally with a semi-auto than I do a revolver. But as you can see, it's not hard to wrap the slide back and do all that. Not hard to take down and clean. This one is actually, quite an affordable gun. So I would definitely recommend a pistol as your first carry gun personally. But I will also now go over the revolver and give you some of the basics on that, and hopefully that'll help you make your decision. So I'm going to pull this over here, and I'll show you my Charter Arms off-duty 38 Special snub-nosed. And as you can see, this has been safety checked too. All daylight. And the main pro to this gun is that it's very concealable. You can see it's a small gun. You wouldn't have any problem putting that under a t-shirt or anything. And I also like the fact that revolvers are very reliable. You pull the trigger, it goes bang, although 99% of the time the semi-automatics do the same thing. This one was made in 1984, I believe. That's what I found out from my research. And I bought it used at Shooter's World in Tampa, Florida, my favorite gun shop. And I found that, it fires flawlessly. It's like new. In fact, I took it to the range today and fired it, and I didn't have any sort of issue with it. The main drawback to a revolver is the fact that they only hold about 5 to 6 rounds on average. So if you're up against a bad guy with a 10-round magazine and a Glock, or multiple attackers, you're going to find yourself outgunned pretty quickly. And another thing that I don't like about a lot of these revolvers, especially these snub-nosed, is that you have to be pretty close for it to be accurate. I mean, anything within 5 yards is fine. It's perfectly acceptable accuracy at that range. But you get out beyond that and you have a bit of a problem with some accuracy, at least I do. But then again, these were not meant to be competition or long-range guns. These were meant to be self-defense guns in a very short, with a very short distance between you and the attacker. So that in that respect, they do their job. And one of the main pros of revolvers is that if you happen to be somebody who has paralysis in one hand or severe arthritis, or you're missing an arm, you can use a revolver one-handed, whereas you really can't, you can't use a semi-auto that way, because you can't use a semi-auto if you're one-handed, because it requires you to rack the slide back. Whereas this one, all that you have to do, even if you can't use your other hand, is you can use one hand. It might be difficult to do at first, but you can use one hand to swing the cylinder out and load it up, especially if you have a speed loader, and put it back. But yeah, you see you can do that. Learn to do like that, where it would be impossible to load a semi-auto with one hand. And I find that another drawback to revolvers is, at least this one, you can certainly get them without hammers, but if they have a hammer spur on them, it can snag on clothing and just make it harder to draw. But as I said, you can certainly get hammerless revolvers. There's plenty of them out there. The only way I would recommend a revolver as your first gun is if you fall into one of those categories, like I said, where you only have one hand operable. Then certainly, a gun like this would be perfect, because 5 rounds is better than no rounds at all. But if you can, rack a slide and you're comfortable with a semi-automatic, I would really recommend that you start out with one, because I just personally find they're easier to shoot, and I think they're better in a self-defense situation. But hopefully this has informed you of the differences and the pros and cons, and I hope that you make the decision that you feel is right for you, because as long as you're armed, that's perfect. Thank you. Bye.